Welcome to my 12 days of Easter. 12 days, 12 vlogs, under 12 minutes and released at 12 noon. And it only seemed fitting that day one should be on the plot. And it feels a bit like a day one on the plot. So although I've had my plot for 16 months now, I've done a full season on the plot, we're now starting a brand new season, and it does feel like beginning all over again. Now that I've had a full year, I've got a better sense of what I think the plot needs. I know more about its soil, really heavy, clay, claggy soil. I know more about some of the idiosyncrasies of the plot in that it floods, and things like the kinds of weeds that I have, the way in which the sun moves, where the shade is. But I am a bit starting with a blank slate again, and so what I thought we'd do this evening is have a whip round the plot, show you the space as it is now, and perhaps you can help me with thinking what my plans for this year should be. So there's the plot as the sun sets on it this Sunday evening. But perhaps we'll walk down to the front of the plot and then we can work our way backwards. So this is what we'll call bed number one. It's currently netted because it's got brassicas in, and it's also got broad beans, not broad beans, field beans. And you can just see them there. They've all come up pretty well. I rather space them out a little bit, but they're still quite small. Those are the Austerian tree cabbages. They are perennial, so they will probably stay there, although I might move one because they're quite close together. And then these were my slow to grow brassicas, but we might be able to harvest a little bit of something from those for dinner tonight. Now this is bed two, and this is the one bed that got some treatment over the winter. So it got covered in cardboard. I think it was mulched underneath first with the rabbit bedding and grass clippings. Then the cardboard went over. It was weighed down with these pallet collars, and at the moment the swing is just on top of it, because just today Mum and I took that down. So that's ready to move into a new space this year. So just go back, where will I do the beans this year? Now this was the squash and sunflower bed this year with lots of cosmos at the front. Oh, and here at the very front of the plot, for those of you who are regular viewers, this is where the compost delivery guy ran over my tulips, but they do seem to be recovering. Here's bed three with the Belfast sink, as well as 3 dumpy bags full of wood chip. And here is where I've got my raspberries. I recently put some more in. You might just spot a rhubarb there. These sticks at the edge are everlasting sunflowers, and I think that's about all there is in there at the moment. I think there's some comfrey at the edges, but we do have a whole space in front of the raspberries there that can be used, a nice long line. We move over to this bed. This is where the leeks are, where Dory likes to sit so much. I'm really pleased that the jostaberry and the Saskatoon have got buds on. I mean, the jostaberry is already in full leaf. This is the spot where the pond should be. It has indeed been flooded for most of the winter, but I haven't actually done that properly yet. My Tortondine kale is underneath there as well. Got absolutely eaten by pigeons, so it's trying to recover. And Mum just noticed that this damson, which as you'll see is damson Mum's, it's from Mum's garden, has life on it. So that's very exciting, because I did think it was just a dead stick. And the rest of this bed, like all the other beds on this plot, full of grass and weeds, but it also has fruits on there. So I've got another plum tree here, some kind of berry there which has life on it. There's a gooseberry nestled between the clumps of grass there. I've got a rhubarb, another berry over there. So this is what I call the perennial bed, and I don't foresee too much changing, although there is quite a big space on this side, so potentially something could happen over here. Definitely needs a weed. Right, Dory's bed. So Dory's bed last year was the sweet corn bed, Also had pumpkins all around the edge. I've just cleared the sweet corn foliage, the stalks, because they were overwintering on the bed. And the only thing growing in here now, other than weeds and grass, is this line of Saskatoons. And some of them, you can see, are actually alive, which is so exciting. So the idea is, because there's a line of Saskatoons up there as well, that this whole walk along here would be a kind of Saskatoon hedge. I don't know that it's quite going to do that, but yeah, glad to see that there's some life on some of them. So I guess this brings us to this bed. I'm out of numbering now, out of order. Now this does still have these 3 raised beds on. This one has the elephant garlic bulbils in. This one has nothing in, and this one has 2 very nibbled Swedes and weeds. And then I have my slate bed over here where the garlic is looking great. There's white onions on this side and they are all coming up lovely. And there are red onions on this side. Huh. The only other thing in this bed now that I've just taken all of the brassica foliage down, all those stalks, is these celeriacs. Again, nestled in clumps of grass. But, I mean, there is actually something there. Maybe we'll try and dig those up. And speaking of digging up, if we pan along to this bed, this was where the runner beans were. We've just taken down the structure. There was also brassicas and potatoes in this bed. I mean, there were potatoes in pretty much every bed on this plot. This is where the Jerusalem artichokes are. They go all the way along here. I've just actually added more to this end, so I should get a complete screen of Jerusalem artichokes across there. And the only other thing remaining in here is these 2 cardoons, which are looking fantastic. So much beautiful new growth on them. Really pleased with those. Slightly random place to have them. Don't know how easy it is to move a cardoon though. And that brings me to the final bed, which is the fruit tree guild. And the fruit trees are all alive. So we've got an apple at the end here, an apple in the middle there, and the recently put in pear tree there, which has had a lovely blossom. In between are a red currant and a black currant, and loads and loads of strawberries, which are looking pretty good. So this is Fruit Tree Guild. So everything in this bed is designed to support the fruit trees. I'm not sure how much support tulips are doing, but I am so pleased with these. You might remember I put these bulbs, these were the bulbs that I found in a shoebox in like the end of January, and just shoved them into this bed, and they're coming up. And they're coming up nice and tall as well. There's also comfrey in this bed, and I didn't put that in, it's a buddleia. Oh, and there's a hollyhock as well. I'm sure there are other things in that bed. This is the one probably that I'm most excited about because I weeded it not that long ago. Oh, probably when I put those bulbs in then. And so it's a bit tidier than the rest of the plot. And yeah, I don't know, I'm pretty excited about seeing how this one develops. Having said that, at the end of the bed is a right old mess. So those are all the brambles that I've been pulling down and digging out at the back of the plot over the last week or so. There is a rhubarb that's getting rather shaded by all of this lot. All of my cardboard is under here. This is all the pallets from the old compost bays, but these are my new compost bays, and they are now pretty full. So this one is the one I think that will be ready to go first. Then this one I've just topped up with everything that I had already put in this one, and then realised that was a stupid thing to do because I didn't have a spare bait to put the new stuff in. Now, you know I like to just pile stuff next to compost bins as opposed to actually putting them in. So I've been very good today, and everything that I cut down, I chopped up and I've put into the bay. Let's see if I can keep that up for the rest of the year. So that brings us to the final space. This is the space I've been clearing over the last couple of weeks. It's where the old compost bays were. They've now been dismantled. All the soil has been put into the new compost bays. These bricks have been dug out. I've moved excess compost that maybe has bindweed in against the back of the plot out of the way. And I've been thinking that it might be nice to just throw a load of wildflower seeds down there, and also like cover crop seeds, so I could have some of the phacelia. But anyway, this space in front of all that is where the greenhouse is going to go. And there's the greenhouse. Same place it's been for the last 12 months. The greenhouse is going to make it onto the plot. You heard it here. And all of this mess by the shed is a bathtub that I'm deciding what to do with. Should I make it into a planter? Should I make it into a pond? There you go. There's the question for this first day of our 12 days of Easter. And all those bags are full of rabbit bedding, ready to mulch these beds. But there we go. That's an update on the plot. First plot tour of 2024. And yeah, lots of decisions to be made. So thank you for joining me for day one, and I'll now join you over in the comments, or I'll see you tomorrow for day two.